What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a fun top 10 up. Top 10 cover songs brought to us by a patron, longtime supporter, and friend of the channel, Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. You tackled the task that I would not dare, but you have a vast musical knowledge, so I trust this thing is in good hands. If you'd like to be a patron and support us in any way, the patrons make this thing go. Please check out our Patreon link below. Also, check out our social media, our Twitch. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday, and all the other various social media stuff below. All that to say, guys, let's get into this one. And I like to go by what the patron, he's the one that put together this list. He's the one that's got knowledge of this. Here's what Brian said. This one is a truly tough task. I have a Spotify list of over 900 cover songs to give you some indication of how much I enjoy listening to new interpretations of classic songs. I'm pretty sure I've never even heard 900 cover songs. And while sometimes you can only do it justice by playing it down the line, the best ones sometimes are the ones where the artists make it their own. I agree. And Brian is a basketball coach. He said, once I stood in the middle of my JV basketball team's layup line, I heard my players complaining some old guy, Bob Seger, was trying to redo a Metallica song, Turn the Page. I slowly fought the urge to run them to death. I can understand that one. So let's kick this thing off with number 10. You see it below. U2, Dancing Barefoot, the original by Patti Smith. Brian said this song was featured on the soundtrack to the movie Threesome, and a better example of playing it down the line. It also appears on the B-side of When Love Comes to Town. It appears to be talking about the high that love can give you, likening it to the high one gets when taking drugs, specifically in this case, heroin. Brian, thank you for bringing this list to us. And guys, as always, the actual music will not be in the video itself, but check out the link below if you want to follow along with me and listen along with me. If you already know these songs, just want to know what I think, just hang out. Here I'll have the lyrics up as always. Let's get after this. Dancing Barefoot by U2. Cover of Patti Smith off her 1979 album Wave. Never heard that. The only Patti Smith I've ever heard. I listened to her debut, of course, the famous Horses. So I've never heard the original, but I can see how Brian said they played it down the middle or down the line. It seems like that. It seems like this is the way she would deliver it, knowing just the stuff I know of her. This was released in 1989, so it would be right after Rattle and Hum. Previous to that, we had, of course, the Joshua Tree for U2, and in a couple years after this, we'll have Octone Baby, my favorite U2 album. So that's kind of where it fits in. I think the highlight of it is the guitar work by The Edge. The music itself, Brian kind of laid down what the lyrics are like. You know, here I go, and I don't know why I spin so ceaselessly. Could it be taking over me? I'm dancing barefoot, headed for a spin. Some strange music drags me in. It makes me come up like some heroin. Very atmospheric song with the guitar and the way that Bono delivers these vocals. So enjoy that one. And next up at number 9, we have You See It Below, Joe Cocker, with a little help from my friends, obviously from the Beatles. Brian says this is a song where there is little gray area for liking it or hating it. Beatles fans seem to hate anyone attempting to cover the Fab Four. Might be guilty of that. But I think Joe made his version of the song very much his own, taking the classic bouncy style of the original and spinning it to a wonderful blues, rock, soul masterpiece. Song features Jimmy Page on the guitar. With what I found for the research on this, this is his debut album, the title track from the debut album. His version was a theme song to the television series The Wonder Years during the 80s and 90s. Now here's the thing, I watched that show some. It didn't resonate with me because I was younger, right? And it was hearkening back to a time that I was not alive in. So obviously I knew this song from the theme, but guess what, guys? I didn't know it was this song because it's so different. I didn't even know that. I'm like, oh, that's what that is. And on here, a lengthy instrumental introduction featuring drums by Procol Harum's B.J. Wilson, guitar lines from Jimmy Page, as Brian mentioned, and organ by Tommy Iyer. After recording the song, Cocker brought it to Paul McCartney. How nervous do you think Joe might have been there? McCartney later said of the recording, it was just mind-blowing. Totally turned the song into a soul anthem. I was forever grateful for him for doing that. I just can't imagine delivering it to Paul and go, hey, dude, what do you think of this? This went to number 1 in the UK, 68 in the US. In 2001, this version, Joe Cocker's version of the song, was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Let's check this one out. There you have it with a little help from my friends. I'm not usually a fan of cover songs of Beatles songs, although I do like Gary Clark Jr.'s does a version of Come Together that's fantastic. But this song doesn't sound anything at all like the original. Nothing. It's unrecognizable. And I guess that's why I didn't know that's what it was, and just hearing it in the Wonder Years over the years when I was younger. But fantastic rendition. Put Joe on the map when he performed it at Woodstock back in 1969. What a way to come out of the gate, and what a courageous way to come out of the gate. I'm going to cover a Beatles song, and I'm going to soul it up. The background vocalists obviously add to it. It's a much longer song at 5 minutes, 12 seconds, delivered in a slower manner than the Beatles did it, and that just makes it work, man. Like I said, it's really a separate song, and I enjoyed it a bunch. And now we're up to number 8. You see it below, Rage Against the Machine, How Could I Just Kill a Man? Original by Cypress Hill. I don't know either one of these versions, but Brian said a true wildcard song for any cover list. We just talked recently about how rap songs are almost never covered. This is true. Back in the early days of hip-hop, you couldn't even steal a line from another rapper. It was called biting his lyrics. Rage's funky rock style with guitarist Tom Morello and singer Zach De La Rocha just seemed tailor-made to pull this, quote, street hard track across genres. All right, Brian, bringing something for everybody. Let's check this one out. How I Could Just Kill a Man, Rage Against the Machine, covering Cypress Hill. And I got to tell you, it's strange in the fact that it sounds like old school rap, and yet it sounds like Rage Against the Machine. It has their sound. It's an odd thing, and it works really, really well. Basically, in the lyrics, my man is going around and he's doing different things. You know, he says, when they see me driving by, hanging out my window, my Magnum taking out some blank, I'm just another local kid from the street getting paid for my vocals. Here is something you can't understand, how I could just kill a man. And then they just go all in on that chorus. The guitar work is fantastic, as you would expect. He uses the word, then I had to gotcha, which is just using gat as shoot. That's kind of the synonym he's using there. Time for some action, just a fraction of fiction. I got the clearance to run the interference. So he's going after this guy. One time tried to come in my home, take my chrome. I said, yo, it's on. Take cover, Sony, you're assed out. How do you like my chrome? Then I watched the rookie pass out. Someone's breaking his house. He pulled the gun. The dude passed out. It would have been fine. He says, didn't have to blast him, but I did anyway. Ha, ha, ha. Young punk had to pay, so I just killed the man. So, you know, he's coming at people, man. And then someone tried to get his car, and he killed him. And then we just go in that refrain. Here's something you can't understand. How could I just kill a man? He goes in that for a good 30 seconds. Or maybe even 45 seconds at the end, and it just absolutely works. So I really enjoyed that one, and actually when I looked at this list, it surprised me that I did. I don't know a lot of Rage Against the Machine. Two of the other people that run this channel with me, it's a family affair here at Reaction to the Classics. My son Trey and wife Gina have reacted to a couple of Rage Against the Machine songs that have done very well, so check those out when you're done with this one. But let's move on to song number 7. I Love Rock and Roll from Joan Jett, originally by the Arrows. This is a song I know from when I was probably 10 years old and just love it. Brian said Joan had several great covers throughout her career. I like Crimson and Clover as well. None more famous than this one, which climbed all the way to number 1 in the US and 4 in the UK. She originally released it as a B-side to her 1979, but re-released it again in 81, and the record went off. In the early days of MTV, most fans can remember the leather-bound Joan strolling into the bar of the video. I can. And then I found her rendition became her highest charting hit, becoming the number 3 song for 1982. Her version was inducted in the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2016, 491 in the Rolling Stones top 500 songs of all time. The original songwriter, Alan Merrill, said he wrote the song as a, quote, knee-jerk response to the Rolling Stones. It's only rock and roll, but I like it. Joan saw the Arrows perform it on their weekly UK television series Arrows while she was touring England with the Runaways in 1976. Must have tucked it into the mind and brought it back out. Let's check this one out. There you have it. I Love Rock and Roll, one of the most successful cover songs of all time. Joan makes this song just go. The power in her vocals, the intensity, you just feel it. It is rocking. Her and Ricky Byrd on guitars is top notch, and you just want to sing along, right? It's one of those songs that you just really, really want to sing along. I spared you. You don't want me ruining the song, singing along with it, so I refrained. So you're welcome for that. Not a lot to the lyrics, you know. It's the famous I love rock and roll, put another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll, so come and take your time and dance with me. In that, Jones going in, Ricky Byrd and Gary Ryan, the bass player, coming in and helping her there. But, you know, she goes in a bar, sees a guy, and she wants to be with him, says he can't be more than 17, and he comes over and says, you know, it's not going to be long before you're with me. Yeah, me. And wow, I just love this song. I always go back and forth. Crimson and Clover's on the same album was a top 5 hit as well, and I don't know which one I like better. I think the answer to that is whichever one I'm listening to at the moment. And one other nice add-in on there is the hand claps. This is 1982. Another great hand clapping song came in 1982 by the great John Cougar. Jack and Diane, I guess 82 was the hand clapping time. That is a very good little technique because it makes the song stick more in your head. Now we move on to number 6, Jimi Hendrix and the Experience, Hey Joe, originally by the Leaves. Brian said, going to one of those songs that was done so well, almost no one realizes it was a cover song. The copyright was submitted in 1962 and the earliest recording was by the Leaves in 1965. The song was a hit for both, but Jimmy's version has resonated through history. Like a ton of songs in the 60s, it was done by so many different artists in a short time span that it is tough to figure who drew inspiration from whom, and I found that Jimmy recorded it for his first single with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Their version became a hit in the UK at number 6, but failed to chart in the US. Number 201 on the Rolling Stones 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Trey and I did the entire 3-album run of Jimi Hendrix and the Experience. And guess what? When that was all said and done, those reviews are up on the channel. This was my favorite Hendrix song. Let's check it out. The iconic Hey Joe, Jimi Hendrix and the Experience. Mitch Mitchell flat out bringing the drums, which I always think with these guys. Noel Redding on the bass doing an excellent job. You're coming to play with Jimmy, man. That is a lot of freaking pressure. The greatest guitarist to ever live, and I find it hard to believe that he will ever be supplanted. Still my favorite Hendrix song. I haven't heard it in a long time. Just love it. The story it tells is tremendous as well. I realize Jimmy didn't write it, but the story is great because Jimmy's asking Joe, where are you going? He starts out, where are you going with that gun in your hand? And he says he's going down to shoot his old lady. He caught her messing around with another man. And then we go on, and he says, and that ain't cool, and that ain't too cool. And then we go on to the next verse, and he's, hey, Joe, I heard you shot your woman down. So Jimmy sees him, where are you going with the gun? She's being unfaithful. I'm going to go shoot her. Then he sees him again, and he says, I heard you shot her down to the ground. And then Joe comes back, yes, I did shoot her. I caught her messing around town, and I gave her the gun. I shot her. And then Jimmy goes into this fantastic guitar solo, which I guess goes without saying if it's Jimmy, right? And then he says, hey, Joe, all right, shoot her one more time, baby. He uses that guitar to really play up the emotion of the song, which obviously is his trademark. He asked him, where are you going to run now? He's going to go way down to Mexico. Ain't no hangman ain't going to put no rope around me. You better believe it right now. I got to go now. So Joe has to get out of here. But wow, that is a fantastic tune and a great choice by you, Brian. Let's move on to song number 5. We're already halfway through this thing. We're going to go to Helpless by Buffy St. Marie. The original, of course, by the iconic Neil Young. We like to call him Uncle Neil around here. We have probably, 10, 12 album reviews of Neil up. Brian said from her early 70s album, she used to want to be a ballerina. Buffy's cover of this Neil Young classic came to my attention when watching the movie Hotel Artemis. Her beautiful and soulful voice stands out in stark contrast to Neil's raspy and painful delivery. She is best known as the co-writer of the song Up Where We Belong from An Officer and a Gentleman. Here's how these things tie together. We had Joe Cocker at number 9. He sang that song Up Where We Belong with Jennifer Warnes. I found it was originally released with Neil's band Crazy Horse in early 1969 before his new CSNY bandmates convinced him it would suit them better, and it appeared on their 1970 album Deja Vu. Let's check this one out. Helpless, Buffy St. Marie with the vocal performance so far of this top 10. My goodness, that was absolutely outstanding from her 1971 album She Used to Want to Be a Ballerina, an original from Uncle Neil on the CSNY album Deja Vu. And it's Neil's songwriting. There's a town in North Ontario with dream, comfort, memory, despair, and in my mind I still need a place to go. All my changes were there. So hearkening back to a place where there was comfort, familiarity, blue windows behind the stars, yellow moon on the rise, big birds flying across the sky, throwing shadows on our eyes, leave us helpless, 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 baby, can you hear me now? And her vocal delivery is so powerful, so pure, so good. I just absolutely enjoyed that one. And now we're up to number 4. Jane's Addiction, Sympathy. It's a cover of Sympathy for the Devil by the great Rolling Stones. Brian says from their self-titled live album recorded at the Roxy, this bongo-driven hypnotic cover of the classic Stones tune is one of two cover songs on this album. I've always appreciated the rawness of this version, and I think Perry Farrell's version is much more seductive, which would line up more with the subject matter. I'm not a huge Jane's Addiction, and I am a huge Rolling Stone, so we'll see how this one works out. Sympathy, a take on Sympathy for the Devil by Jane's Addiction. I will say Dave Navarro was crushing the guitars. Stephen Perkins, fantastic percussion there. I imagine he's the one playing the bongo, so I think Brian was right on all that. Now here's the time where we go, hey, look, guys, right? It's a safe place, right? We're all friends here, I think, right? We've come this far. There's always going to be one, right? And this is the one for me. I hate this song. I don't hate the Stones version. I love the Stones version of Beggar's Banquet. Shameless plug. We do have a review of that up on the channel. Check it out when we're done with this. Yeah, that just wasn't working for me, man. Perry's vocals. When I respect Jane's Addiction. There are forerunners in their genre, but man, I couldn't hate that anymore. I kept checking my Spotify to be like, is this almost done? And maybe it's because I love the original so much, and that's probably on me. But yeah, this caused a lot of controversy when it came out. Not their version, but the Stones. If you don't know, it's not Sympathy for the Devil. Mick takes on, and in this case, Perry, the persona of Satan. He's speaking from that, but it's about the flaws of mankind. It's not about devil worship. So if you see that title, don't freak out if you're of that nature of freaking out over those things. So it's yeah, it just didn't work for me. But let's move on to one of my all-time favorite songs, literally. The great Jeff Buckley and Hallelujah. Original, of course, by Leonard Cohen. Brian said if you put up a poll with this version versus original, it might be a statistical tie. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, we did one better. We have a song battle of these two songs, Cohen versus Buckley, up on the channel. Check that one out as well. I'm adding to your watch list. Buckley's most famous tune from his masterpiece, Grace. Sorry, guys, but we do have a review of that up as well. Man, we got a lot of videos up. Just ripples with spiritual power in his delivery. Buckley actually drew his inspiration from John Cale's version. Whenever there's been an intense emotional moment on TV or in movies, it always felt like this was the go-to track. It's a shame we were robbed of his voice so early. Boy, I couldn't say that any better. And if you don't know the story on this, Leonard wrote about 80 different versions of this song. His original version was recorded on the album Various Positions, contained several biblical references, most notably evoking the stories of Samson and Delilah from the book of Judges, She Cut Your Hair, as well as King David and Bathsheba. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you, were those lines. Buckley's version was released in 2007, 10 years after his death. It's ranked number 259 on the Rolling Stones top 500 songs of all time. The only thing wrong with that ranking is it is way too freaking low. Let's check this one out. Hallelujah, Jeff Buckley. I wanted to make so many comments during the song, but I just couldn't do it, man. I mean, are there 10 better, more powerful performances than Jeff in this song? Like ever? Like, I don't think so. I know some of you are going to disagree with that, and I totally get it. But, I mean, everything works on this. The power of his voice, oh my goodness. And obviously the lyrics that Leonard gave him through writing this song. The guitar work, even though it's a subtle guitar performance, right? It's so spot on. It's so powerful. And it's just one of those times in music where it all works. It just works fantastically. The first four verses of the song, you know, biblical imagery, like I talked about at the start, building it's a relationship, right? And he's using this biblical imagery to build up the power of this relationship and how strong it's become. But as so often is the case, in verse 5, right after a great little instrumental, just Jeff and his guitar, it's low key, yet it draws you in, man. It makes you stop everything you're doing and you're lost in it. It draws you in for that powerful fifth verse, right? Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. That is a fantastic line by Leonard. So it went from this hallelujah, hallelujah, praise and everything to, now it's all falling apart. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. And then he just finishes out with that powerful, powerful hallelujah over and over again. This song is just unbelievable. If you hadn't figured out yet, that's what I think of it. I can't believe there's two songs that are better than this, but you know what? I respect your opinion, Brian. Let's go to the next one, number 2. And we have Green Day, Working Class Hero, original by John Lennon, of course. Brian says Green Day releases on the Instant Karma, the campaign to save Darfur, an album that features all covers of John Lennon's songs. Released along with the powerful music video, Green Day went on to be nominated for Best Rock Performance at the Grammys in 2007. The song is still relevant today as it speaks to the alienation of the lower class by a system rigged against them. No comment. Original, of course, is from the 1970 album John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band. Yeah, you guessed it. There's a review of that up as well. I've never heard this, so let's check it out. Working Class Hero by Green Day. I greatly enjoyed that. A fantastic rendition, great guitar work. Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, of course, said, "We want to do Working Class Hero because its themes of alienation, class, and social status really resonated with us. It's just such a raw, aggressive song. Just that line, 'You're still effing peasants,' as far as I can see. We felt it could really sink our teeth into it. I hope we've done him justice." I really think they did. I think there's such power in the delivery and obviously the song itself. As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all. Until the pain is so big, you feel nothing at all. And then we get in that chorus of Working Class Hero is something to be. And he talks about kind of your school process, and they kind of beat you down as you're growing up until you really don't even kind of know where you are. And then verse 3, when they tortured and scared you for 20 odd years, they expect you to pick a career when you can't really function. You're so full of fear. What he's trying to say there, I think, John kind of talked about this later on, is that people are taking you and trying to put you in this box. Like, you have to fit in the societal norm, and if you're outside of this box at all, then they just come at you, right? They just go after you. Like in verse 2, they hurt you at home and they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and despise a fool. So if you have some wit about you and fire back at them, they hate you. But if you're not very smart, then they put you down and try to drag you along like you're not good enough. So you really can't win. And when you really think about how we raise our young people and you look at it in the context of the song, it should make you stop and think. And in verse 4 he ends with, "But you're still effing peasants as far as I can see." He's calling the people to rise up. He's not insulting them. And, it's just a fantastic song. And the nice part about it's a little outro, the little last 10 seconds is actually John singing on it. So really good choice here. And now we're on to number 1. You see it below, the great Johnny Cash and Hurt from 9 Inch Nails originally. Brian put it so eloquently. He said, and then there are those cover songs that appropriate the song so entirely it no longer belongs to the original artist. Trent Reznor, of course, of 9 Inch Nails, himself said the song no longer belongs to him. Cash's stripped-back version is the ultimate cry for help for the depressed soul of the protagonist. The song went on to critical and commercial acclaim, and Brian says he considers it one of his top 50 songs of all time. I found a little bit on the song written by Trent Reznor, of course. It received a Grammy Award nomination for Best Rock Song in 1996. So 9 Inch Nails got some acclaim for it. And then in 2002, Johnny covered it to commercial and critical acclaim. The related music video is considered one of the greatest of all time by publications such as NME, and won Video of the Year at the Grammys that year. When Reznor was asked if Cash could cover a song, Reznor said he was, quote, flattered but worried that the idea sounded a bit gimmicky. And you could see that at the time, right? I see where he's coming from. He became a fan of Cash's version, however, once he saw the music video. The song includes references to self-harm and heroin addiction, although the overall meaning of the song is, of course, disputed. Some listeners contend that the song acts as a suicide note written by the song's protagonist as a result of his depression, while others claim that it describes a difficult process of finding a reason to live in spite of depression and pain, and does not have much to do with the storyline of the downward spiral. Let's kind of judge this for ourselves. Number 1, Hurt, Johnny Cash. Hurt from the great Johnny Cash. Okay, my goodness, man, that song is so freaking powerful when you listen to it in this way of just sitting here and reading the lyrics. And oh my goodness, man, I don't know if there's been many better partying shots than this. This is Johnny's last single release. It didn't do incredibly well. Went on the alternative rock charts. I think it barely hit the top 50 on the country charts. But you just feel the emotion of it in just a tremendous way. It was, of course, produced by Rick Rubin. And Rick said that what happened when him and Johnny got together is they would sit in the studio and just, play different songs until they both liked a song, And then Rick said he would send CDs of songs that he wanted Johnny to consider. And he put this song in particular as the first song on several of those compilation CDs he sent him. He wanted Johnny to keep hearing this song because it's a song that Johnny would have never heard, obviously, from Nine Inch Nails. So, I mean, just kudos to Rick for bringing us to him. And then Johnny's performance is unbelievable. You feel his pain. Everything has kind of gone away. The chorus, what have I become, my sweetest friend? Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all, my empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. Verse 2, the only line that Johnny changed in this entire song, I wear this crown of, and Trent wrote S, I will let you figure that out from there. I wear this crown of blank. Johnny changed it to I wear this crown of thorns, which is just really frames up the rest of the song, because Johnny was a Christian, and you know the crown of thorns, if you're a Christian, you understand it's the allusion to Jesus, and that you cannot, you know, live up to this example that we're supposed to live up to. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had to come to the earth and die on the cross. But you're supposed to strive for that. I'm a Christian. I understand these ideals of the Christian faith. And Johnny understood it too. So by putting it there, I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, not in a throne, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You are someone else. I am still right here. Whew. Absolute fire. Absolute fire. Fantastic choice for number one. Now we're going to get to my favorite songs. I always choose three. This one is pretty easy. Hallelujah by Buckley. Hurt by Johnny Cash. I say pretty easy. That third one's going to be tough. I'm going to go Helpless by Buffy St. Marie. Honorable mentions to Green Day, Working Class Hero. And then, of course, I love Rock and Roll and Hey Joe. I knew those two songs. Only one bad song on here. I'm not going to belabor it. I'm not going to beat Jane's Addiction to death. You may love them, and I know I'll hear about it in the comments below. But fantastic job, Brian. My proverbial hat off to you. There's no way I could have put this list together with this kind of skill. Guys, let me know what you think of this list below. Let me know what was left off or what you wish were on there. Just do me a favor. Be respectful about it, because I'll tell you what, it's really hard to put these things together. Top 10 songs, tough, man, because I'm sure Brian could have put 50 together. He said he has a list of 900 covers. You got to get it down to 10. So what do you think should have been here? What do you agree with? And if you're a Jane's Addiction fan, I'm ready. Go ahead, bring it. I get it. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.